Mori ore te whānau, no mai, hoki mai, welcome on in or welcome back to the 99 Dreams podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rawiri, and today we've got another amazing guest lined up. So without further ado, whānau, let's welcome to the show, Cam. Cam, what's good, bro? How are you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Just moved up to Wellington, so moved out of gloomy old Dunedin. So just living up here now. Yeah. It's good.
Nice. Well, hey, before we get started, we'll just do a bit of a Kōwai Nōwai, who you are and where you're from.
So I'm from Dunedin. Grew up in the mighty south, some may say. A bit about me. I'm a strength and conditioning coach based out of Wellington now. Been a practitioner for 3 years. Me and you obviously studied together, so went to uni down there as well. Great place to, start that journey off in that career.
Yeah, because you grew up in Dunedin, isn't that right? So did you have any idea or any plans to go to a different university, or was it always just, yeah, I'm going to Otago?
I sort of talked about it with the parents, and it always just sort of stood out that the PE degree down there, and it was always what I wanted to do. Always that special interest, and there was sort of nowhere else offering that kind of service and that level. I think when we first joined up, it was the 7th best degree ranking in the world from memory. That FETA degree, so really nothing else stood out for me, and especially in New Zealand anyway, and I wasn't going overseas, so it made total sense just to stay in Dunners and start my career there in PE. Yeah.
Yo, because that was one thing I didn't actually know, was that it was that highly ranked in the world. I knew it was the number one in New Zealand for PE, for sports and exercise science and stuff like that, because a lot of the professors that work there. But I had no idea until I got to Otago that it was like one of the top schools in the world, which I was like, hey, what the heck?
Yeah, I sort of knew because I'd had a cousin go through it, and he was more into the outdoor side of the degree. But yeah, he told me all about it and pretty much fell in love with it from there, and that's where it all started. So yeah, no, I didn't really know. I probably wouldn't have known either if it wasn't for my cousin about how highly ranked it was, because it was crazy. Um, so it's rather bizarre that was so high, especially considering Dunedin's bottom of New Zealand. Like there's not heaps going on in Dunedin. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, like you say, it's not like you'd think Auckland, Wellington, that'd be your top schools. But hey, Dunedin, punching above their weight.
Mm.
So, where was it in your journey through university that really pushed you into strength and conditioning?
Well, it's really bizarre because I probably hadn't experimented with the gym or hard out conditioning or anything like that until probably my third, fourth year of uni is when I really sort of
True.
found my niche, which is quite interesting. I sort of did PE at uni thinking that I'll find something related in sport management or become a teacher or follow one of those paths. And yeah, that third year, fourth year, I just really took off and started loving the gym, the training methodologies, and Jesus, terrible. But so that's where I really started to fall in love with it, and then it just sort of went from there. I remember there were papers I did that I just, some things I really struggled at in uni, and the exercise prescription papers came up and I just breezed through them, and it was just so natural, and the understanding of it, and because it was a lot more hands-on learning. That's where it really started, and it just took off from there, and then sort of finished uni thinking, well, I felt like uni, you sort of get that, you don't get that practical element as much. We were more head in books, weren't we? So it wasn't so much applying the knowledge, it was more learning the knowledge. So moved on to my postgrad in strength and conditioning at the Polytech the year that COVID hit, and it was probably a great time to do it because there wasn't much happening in terms of job opportunities. So I sort of jumped at that. and yeah, that's where I sort of got my hands-on knowledge from. I had stints with Otago Rugby. I did an internship back at my old school, helping out in their academies, running their S&C programs, so working with their sort of top sports teams. So that's sort of how it branched out, I guess, and then it's just been rolling ever since, really. Just keeps growing and growing. So, and my knowledge does too. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
What were some of the skills that you picked up in university that really shone through in your time in postgrad doing S&C?
What skills? I think, yeah, definitely the knowledge of the body and how it works. I remember doing lots of papers that were, anatomy based, biomechanical based. So that understanding of the body I found was really, useful, taking into that practical element of the Polytech. Because the Polytech postgrad was more, there was a bit of book work, but like it was nothing compared to what we did at uni. Like it was actually easier. But I suppose they're trying to get you to get that more practical element, and your coaching and understanding of people and individuals, as well as applying those training protocols or the plans you have for them. So yeah, definitely from that degree, it's the understanding and the background of how the body works and how to apply it to what you're doing with your athletes or clients.
Yeah, because as much as it is like understanding the methodologies and understanding how the human body works, you also need to have those people skills there to be able to connect with your clients and with your teams that you work with.
Yeah, exactly. I think probably people skills is one of the most important roles in being an S&C, because you have to understand not only the team, but you got to understand those athletes individually. Like if you've got players that come in sore the next day, how you can work around them. Some athletes can be inclined not to tell you that they're sore, or so you've got to almost work it out of them a wee bit. So you've got to be really cautious and actually build. It's about building relationships, really, is a big part of it. And then from there, if you build a relationship with them or with the team, they actually buy into the process a lot more of what you're doing, because they understand you as a person, they trust you. So it's all that trust as well. Was definitely a big thing I learned in that postgrad, was trying to fit into a culture that may already be there, and as well as that implementing your own we twang on it, or whatever you want to call it. So that's definitely that practical elements, not just applying exercises or prescription. It's actually building up things in the background that no one sees, checking in with the athletes, forming that relationship, but also having that boundary with them that, you can talk about certain things, and other things, you don't need to know too much about, or they may cross a line. So you've got to have quite a professional, laid back approach with them, I'm finding. Definitely in high school boys, they like to cross the line and treat you like a teacher sometimes. Because I'm working with a lot of youth athletes, mainly boys at the moment. So previously worked at Otago Boys the last 2 years as their high performance trainer. So I was doing 20 hours there, and then was also the sports coordinator there. So, having that relationship with those boys is important, so that they, understand and can grow and build their foundations up, so that when they do, reach that next level, or if they do choose to try and go for that next level, they have a baseline understanding, and their foundations are built, whether it's strength, mindset. They have a little understanding of nutrition, and performance, and they know they're not just training to look like Arnold. They they have an understanding that that bodybuilding cycle isn't going to help them so much. And then just looking after their bodies is really important too. So getting that understanding of recovery, mobility, sometimes it's not running the body into the ground. It's actually saying, I'll have a rest day today. So getting 14 to 18-year-olds to understand that is a challenge in itself. But yeah, so that was cool. Like really, really cool working with those boys at Otago Boys. So a bit of a shame to leave, but it was time for a bit of a change, and they were pretty gutted I left, but it just fitted in my life, and time to mix it up a bit. Yeah.
Hard. And I definitely know what you mean. Like back in the day, everyone thought, nah, I got to work out 7 days a week, every week, just to start walking around with no neck.
Yes. The old shrug shoulders. Yeah. Exactly.
How did you, how do you go about building these boundaries and maintaining those boundaries with them, especially being, high school students, to know that this is a professional relationship? I don't need to know about anything that could potentially incriminate you because, they're quite young.
Yeah, and boys talk, and yeah, you do hear some interesting things, and it's the it's just setting the boundaries early. Like the big one was always, I didn't let the boys swear around me, so making sure that they're keeping it pretty PG around me as well. And I'm not a teacher, and I told them that. They called me by my first name. And I was totally, hated when I got called Sir or Mr. Sim. It just doesn't sit right in my mind. So I was just like, boys, just call me Cam. That's fine. But I played the big brother card quite a lot, and tried to be a bit of a mentor most of the time. If they were struggling with things, like I said to them, if there were things you were struggling with, to come talk to me, or I did care about the boys, and I didn't sort of shut out personal things in their life, but made sure that if swear words were said, or if they talked to me in a terrible or derogatory way, that it was shut down pretty instantly. So I did take a big brother approach, but I also made sure that when the boundaries did get crossed, that they were brought back into line a little bit. And it's probably the difference between training youth and training probably professional athletes is, these boys are still in school and still learning about what they can and can't say to people, and and they're still learning about themselves. So yeah, making sure that definitely there was some boundary. And the big brother card really worked for me. Like, got a lot of buy-in. By the time I was, I had the boys humming by the end of it, the year 13 boys. They've come in, they know what they're doing straight away. They're either warming up or they're getting into the session that's on the board. Because it was sort of run like, I guess, a bit of a sports academy, like an applied PE sort of subject. So boys they'd have like one classroom time session a week with the teacher, and they'd do their bookwork then. And then the other 3 sessions was the teacher sort of supervising me, and helping me out with doing whatever we were doing in the classroom. And it was a total array of boys who were in it. Like, you had footballers, basketballers, and your classic rugby. And then you had a mix of, like, I had a sailing and a tennis boy this year. So it's quite cool that it's gone away from, because when I was at school there, it was just rugby boys did it. And now it's that array of, you get all the first 15 boys doing it. You get all kinds of, first teams or first, single sportsmen that are quite elite in their age group, joining in and, seeing the value in S&C. And, it was a good culture we had by the end of it. So yeah, no, very cool.
Oh, that's awesome, especially the way that you sort of build that, not persona, but you build that boundary, you build that foundation that, I'm here to help you, but I'm also here to, help mold and shape you, because they are so young. So it's like you're giving them that step into what it's like being a professional, which I think a lot of people miss out, is that if you're going to be an athlete, you have to have this essence of personality and professionalism about you, because you can't be out there swearing at the media.
No, exactly. So, it's just teaching them to learn nice and early what is and isn't okay. And another big thing we did was making sure we let the boys play music. Generally, one of the rugby boys would love to play their music. So, but we made sure that no explicit content was ever on the music as well. So making sure that, we were keeping it across everything. It wasn't just them saying it, so we sort of kept everything, in line. There was one sort of, model. And yeah, so it was really cool. It was really great by the end of it. Mhm.
And that helps with consistency too, so they're not getting all these up and down mixed messages throughout the whole process, because that's important too, especially being teenage boys. Is it needs to be consistent, not one way for one day and then one way for music sort of thing, eh?
Yeah, exactly. The hardest thing was when the relievers were around, and it's hard being a reliever, and I get that, but it was sort of me having to take over the class and telling the boys that it wasn't okay, and they were just sort of acting up because the teacher wasn't there, as boys like to do. They get a free run sometimes, and they try to take care for everything they can. So yeah, but by the end of it, by the end of me leaving, they understood, because I had them for 2 years, so it was sort of a build up. So year 11, the academy classes start, so they sort of learn how to lift, the understandings, the health and safety in the gym. We kept that all pretty consistent, as well as the values in there and what we do. We keep the space tidy. We don't swear, we don't play explicit music. We help our brothers out if they're getting stuck. If they need a hand. Okay, we're not. The big thing I always had to tell them was, don't jab your mate in the ribs if he's lifting weight, because they were so. You see them trying to tickle each other, and it's like, boys, come on, But by the time they got to year 13, that sort of group I took from year 11 to 13, that they're definitely the group, that have had my biggest influence on them, because I've had them from that sort of start of puberty to now towards, getting towards the end of it. And they're, obviously getting big and strong, and, understanding the level of S&C and how it's, valuing their sport, whether it's they want to get quicker, stronger, bigger, more explosive. So yeah, so those boys definitely are going to be a reckoning force this year in Dunedin, I'd say. So I'm excited to see how they will go. A lot of them keep in touch with me as well. As I said, I was their big brother, so a lot of them follow my PT page and keep up to date with me and tell them how their results are going and things. So, it's quite cool that those boys are still reaching out to me, even though I've left, and asking me how things are going. And, it's pretty special. Got a lot of hugs when I left. The first week I told them I was leaving, at the start of February, I said, oh yeah, boys, I'm sort of told the hockey boys first, because I did a lot of hockey coaching there. So I was quite close with the hockey boys. And then they sort of, being a hostel there, it spread to the hostel pretty quickly, and half my hockey team were hostel boys. Had boys coming up to me, and they're like, "You're leaving?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I am in a month." And they're like, "What?" That is, like, some of them walked away from me to start with and didn't talk to me for a couple of days. So yeah, so it just shows you they like having me around. Then on the last day, I got a few tears from boys, which was quite surprising. So yeah, a few hugs and a few handshakes, and they wished me all the best. But it's pretty special to go back to a school where you spent 5 years, and wish you had some sort of support network like myself in there to support your sporting dreams. So yeah, no, it was cool to go back to that school and give back to especially the sport, and the boys coming through, because the good boys down there. Yeah.
Man, bro, that's amazing. That just goes to show the impact that you've made on their lives, not just on their sporting ambitions, but also their personal lives. So that must speak volumes to who you are as a person, rather than who you are as just a strength and conditioning coach.
Because the boys, yeah, exactly. The boys would have no idea what I'm programming them, if it's any good or not. But I'd like to say it was good. You learn every day. It's sort of a growing thing, S&C. So it's you're always learning about different things that worked or didn't work, and you sort of just adjust from there week to week and see how it all goes. A lot of trial and error. Yeah. Exactly.
Do you think you'll see a bit of a surge in young students moving to Wellington universities just to come and train with you again?
Just to come and train with me again? That'd be pretty cool, but I don't know. I mean, they've probably all got that same sort of philosophy I had when you're in Dunedin. You've got a great university there, like Otago Uni, that a lot of them don't sort of go away. Um, Most of the boys there, hostel boys, like 90% of them go to Lincoln. And then the rest sort of, that do go to uni will generally go to Dunedin. Um, yeah, depending on what they want to do. But yeah, a lot of Dunedin boys stay in Dunedin for the university. It might be later in life they come up though. You never know. Get out of Dunedin but they're yeah. So I suppose one day they might come and visit. You never know. Come and I mean, a lot of them will want to get out of Dunedin and experience something different. So I'm sure I'll see some of them again someday.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So now I guess we'll shift up into your new role here in Wellington. How's that transition been? New city, new faces, new places?
It's a lot of people to meet. Yeah, so working at Health Fit Collective now, and they have the contract with Wellington College, doing all their S&C. So pretty much I go out to the school on behalf of Health Fit, and I do all their S&C work, so all their programming. Bit of a different model. They start from year 10 in their academies to year 13. They haven't had a trainer in 2 years because of COVID and different things happening budget-wise within the school. Just made it hard, I think. But they're a massive school. They're 1,800 boys, double the size of Otago boys. Yeah,
Holy.
So massive for a just massive school. So double the size of Otago boys. They've got no hostel either, so they don't have that hostel number to bulk them up either. So they're a massive school. Yeah, so pretty much I've just been there all of term one, and it's a different model again. All the time it's more individual work. So the model at the moment is writing the boys' individual programs and then to go off and do it by themselves and sort of have catch-ups with me every now and again. So yeah, I've been doing that for 12 weeks. So I've done a movement screening on over 100 boys. I met 100 boys across the space of 10 weeks.
Holy heck.
And then written them programs as well. And then obviously sort of starting with their rugby now. It's been a bit of a slow process, but getting started with their rugby. And yeah, the winter sports are about to start up, so I'll be doing some work with them as well. Yeah, I think the idea one day will be to have me in there more and doing actual sessions with the boys and learn to lift sessions with the year 11s. And their 13 sport class is very rugby dominant, so it'd be cool to sort of have that same model we had at Otago boys, where we're trying to bring all the sports together. And the teachers are really on board with that too. They want it to be like that. Yeah, and the teachers they've got working around those academies, they're all great guys and have quite a good base level of understanding of S&C. So yeah, no, they're quite keen on the model and branching it out and trying to get more boys to stay on, because it's really, really bizarre. Like their 10, 11 and 12 classes, they've got a whole array of sports, and then it seems to be in year 13 they seem to it just totally goes to rugby. And I'm not sure why. I don't know what the model is. I'm not sure what has made it like that, and the teachers haven't tried to make it like that at all. I'm pretty sure the first 15 guys get told they have to do it. So maybe if the other sports sort of push for you have to do it. But yeah, and it's just sort of trying to, again, starting from that bottom point again with the boys and trying to build that trust up, and that level of understanding with them is pretty poor, especially in those especially in the ones that should know more, as those 12 and 13s that probably don't know enough due to not having anyone there for 2 years supporting them, and helping them understand what S&C is and how to implement it. And because a lot of them I've talked to, I've sort of said, well, what's your training at the moment? And it's very sort of, I saw this on TikTok, or I got this split off the internet, and it's like a 7-day, as you said earlier, about. But they just don't know. They don't, and that's not their fault. It's just was a terrible time in the world, and they just missed out on those opportunities. So, just starting from the base up and trying to get especially those 13 boys to understand that they need to be doing, recovery on a Monday and then getting into some heavy lifting during the week before the season starts, because they're not going to be, trying to make massive gains throughout the year, because they're training 3 times a week and they're playing maybe 1 or 2 games a week. There's just no time, and the body can only do so much. So you're just looking, you're trying to get them to understand that Friday night going to hit a heavy leg session is not good for them. So just, again, it's almost like starting from scratch a wee bit, but Health Fit and myself and Wellington Sportsmed, who are the physios there, have a good relationship. So we're trying to get things off the ground running and implementing some things for. I mean, it might take 6 months for it all to come together, but at least it's a start now, and there's someone there supporting them to start with. And it might be sort of next year or over the next couple of years where the program really sees development and for the boys and for us as well.
Yeah, because I was just about to say that this is more of a 5-year plan, right? So once you get these current year 10s, by the time they reach year 13 and so on, that's when you'll have the program kind of well polished by then, hopefully.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Even trying to install it in year 11s are really good in terms of the fact they want to learn. It's that sort of age where they can get into a gym and actually start, using weights safely. And getting them in, they seem to love it so far. And it was the same in the Target boys. So getting them in and starting their understanding in year 11 when they're keen and eager to learn, is a great time. And then the idea is, they are sort of, their understanding by year 13 will be well polished, as you said. So, that's the idea, is the long-term goal. But just wait and see. It seems to be taking like an upwards approach at the moment. So just got to wait and see what happens next term and how the funding is as things as well, because it's hard because it is a public school and resources are limited. So it'll all depend on as well if what's happening with their budgets each year too, and if they can afford to have us round as much as we would like. But it's sounding pretty promising and securing that. So it'd be great to be around there all the next term and the rest of the year, because I'm probably doing anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week. I was probably doing there all of term 1 when I arrived. So it's a lot of time there with boys.
That's a huge investment. That is quite a lot of hours, especially when you think about it. It's during school hours, right? Or was it before or after school?
It's a mix, but their academies is during school, and then if they're extracurricular teams, their first 11s and first 15s, it's all after school or before school. So it's definitely an investment for the boys for the future, and getting them involved and that understanding would be incredible. But it seems like the relationship's growing between the school and the gym and the physios too. So it's definitely on that upwards approach. And it's just, just takes time as things do sometimes. So it's pretty exciting. It'll be interesting to see where it goes next term, because I know there's big meetings happening with staff in school at the moment to see what will be happening. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like there's heaps going on for you, bro. That's amazing. One thing I do want to ask is based around how you said some of them are picking up programs online or they see it on TikTok. Is what do you think about online PTs? Do you think it's kind of the way they influence the industry now is a negative effect, or do you think it's a positive effect?
Oh, it depends on the person, I suppose. Like I have a lot of, like I am prone to going on TikTok every now and again myself. But there are some people out there putting out good information, and I follow those ones. There's a guy called Squat University who brings out some awesome content. There's another guy, I've totally forgotten his name, but he lives in the UK and puts out awesome content. You've got like Athletes Authority in Australia that posts a lot of content for people to look at and um, buy into. But then you also get those people, just exploiting, the use of social media platforms to boast their own programs, and half the time, they're not relevant to the person, and they sort of get you to buy into it by the way their body looks or how much they're lifting, or so yeah. I think there are positives and negatives to it, but yeah, it's just got to be careful how you use it as a resource. And um, yeah, I know a lot of them. Those PTs online sort of give you online programming, but they've also probably given it to 30 other people. So there's nothing tailored to the person as such. And the big thing people get caught on is a lot of them as well, especially those ones just throwing out generic programs, are definitely on some sort of performance enhancing supplement to help them out as well. So, I mean, each to their own, but yeah, definitely, you got to be careful when you're looking at, your TikToks and your social media about what people are posting, and is it the questions I'd be asking? Is it relevant to me? Is this person going to be able to contact me, or am I going to be able to contact this person to talk about my program and get help with that? And yeah, I think having a personal trainer or a strength and conditioning coach, they've got to be available 24/7, or not 24/7, but somewhat that they'll reply the next day, or they're going to reply to you in a couple of days' time. Whereas, it worries me to think that that those people chucking out generic programs aren't actually replying to their athletes or clients, or taking ages to do it, because it's just a money making scheme really for them, from what I see. Like at the moment, I'm training the New Zealand. I've sort of just picked up a wee gig with the New Zealand Handball Federation, so they live all throughout the country, and some of them even live in Europe. So I've got 15 athletes that I'm having to tailor to across different parts of the country through online programming. And like, that's enough, like 15 clients online, you're writing programs for, or, you're giving them similar things. It can be a lot to take in if you've got, 15 people messaging you, asking questions, saying, oh, I can't do it on this day, or I've hurt my back. Can you tailor it to lower body this week, or done something to my shoulder? So I can sort of, well, I can't really see how they can be coping with that level of people, because it's just, yeah, it's very difficult to manage that and be available for them too. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a big key thing that you said, is that a lot of them do just rinse and repeat that same exercise program for a 32-year-old and an 11-year-old. They're just pumping out that same thing, but people are buying in because they see like a shredded figure, they see a Porsche out the front when they walk into the gym. And I think what's even crazier now is with ChatGPT. So you don't even need to know anything about exercise. You can just chuck in someone's age, location, and all the information that you're asking for into ChatGPT, and it can spit out a program for you, and you just recycle that with absolutely no understanding of how the human body works.
No, and there's no one watching you, or like occasionally I'll message my athletes that are online and go, send me a video of you doing this exercise. I want to make sure you're doing it right. And half of them hate it because they have to film themselves in the gym. But a lot of the time, you do pick up one or two things that they were doing wrong, especially if they don't have like a high base level of their bodies and understanding of movement patterns. So a lot of the time you do pick up one or two things from those videos they send in. So it's really important, I think, to to have, a coach that's available, and is actually caring about you, and your performance, and not just you're not just dollars on a page sort of thing for them, which is really important.
Heck yeah, because like you said, it's all about building those connections and those relationships, so that it's not just, like you say, that transaction. You're not just money on a page. You're actually building that relationship with them. So like those kids in Otago that he was talking about earlier, they still connect with them. That's what it's about, I think, rather than just collecting a paycheck and running with it.
Yeah, like S&C, like I always knew that S&C isn't a, it's not $1 million sort of, I'm not going to be earning $1 million a year sort of a thing. You do it for the love of it. And I've probably always been into coaching, but not like, coaching a sport. Never really realised that it's actually S&C that was my passion, and coaching in that way, as opposed, because I always enjoyed coaching. And then once I got into S&C, I was like, oh, well, this is me. This is what I want to do. But yeah, it's one of those sort of selfless jobs in terms of I lead my biggest philosophy is I want my environments to be a athlete focused, coach led environment. So it's a very selfless sort of a job, and it's always you're sort of hiding in the background, and even those professional teams, the S&Cs aren't known, but you'll know who the coach is, and you'll know who all the players are. Not many people can name S&C coaches or physios or the nutritionists and all those big franchises, because it's one of those selfless sort of jobs. That's why we do it, for the love of it and for the athletes and the people. Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. That's on. I guess one thing would be is how do you find something that you're passionate about? If you have any advice to the whānau listening at home, is how do they find that thing that they're passionate about, like you?
I think it was about trying new things. One day I sort of was sitting with my mate in uni, and he was sort of talking about getting into the gym, and I was like, oh, I've sort of been thinking about that too. And we just went together one day, and we pretty much went, not every day, but we'd go at least 3-4 times a week to the gym together, and it just sort of started from there. So I think the big thing was just branching out and trying new things. So like today, I've never been on a podcast, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take Ra up on that offer and jump on board and have a crack at it and see if I enjoy it, and if I don't, so be it. I really think it's about trying new experiences and getting out of that comfort shell. That was sort of my big goal for 2023 was to get out of my comfort shell and do something a bit different and try something new. So yeah, definitely finding that niche and finding that thing you're passionate about is you got to try something. That's my advice.
That's great advice, because like you said, you'll never know if you like it or you don't if you don't give it a try.
Yeah, exactly. It's like eating food, isn't it?
Man, I still am not trying a mushroom. It smells disgusting, and I just believe it is disgusting. I don't want none
mushrooms.
of that.
Jesus. That's interesting.
It put me off as a kid, bro. I've never gone back. Never gone back.
Understandable. Yeah, at least, yeah. Did you even try one?
Yeah, as a kid, I haven't tried it as
an adult.
At least you
tried it. So you tried it, and you went, nah, not my passion.
The same as a kidna. So, like, you know how everyone makes that shit look delicious as? That's terrible. Don't even try it. I tried it as a kid. Disgusting. I tried another one last year. Still disgusting. Don't eat it. Don't eat it, man.
Yeah. That's gold.
We've reached this part of the episode where the whānau who are regular listeners will know all about this. We dip into the dream deposit box. So on this box is a shoe box. It says, always remember when they doubted you. Love that sentiment. So I've kept the box. Inside is where everyone that comes on the show shares with us a dream. We give them up to 3 dreams to share with us. We've had Sam Baxter, one of his dreams is making a safe, comfortable environment for rehab more available. We've got Hayden Nelson. He wants to be the All Blacks S&C coach one day. Jack Nelson, he wants to own a sports clothing brand one day. Me, I wrote, I want to finish my masters.
Good man. Good man.
So hopefully get there one day. I lost the pink paper, so Fano, who regularly watched, this is the blue one now. We're going with blue. Lost the pink one. Blue. Don't know where it is. No, so what are some dreams you have, bro?
Some dreams. Do they have to be like tailored to myself, or is it more whatever sort of thing?
Whatever you have a dream of. I know someone else shared a dream where they just wish that all the rangatahi in the world can come together and live in a safe and happy environment.
Cool. Okay. I got a few. First one's sort of for myself. I'd love to see myself in five years, a full-time trainer within high performance sports somewhere. So that'd be my first dream.
High performance. Nice. Second dream?
Second dream would be that S&C became, a normalised thing within schools, and was ready and available. So giving boys those opportunities or girls those opportunities.
Yeah, heck yeah. So I mean, high school is really the platform between, being a child and working towards the pros.
Exactly. Well, you've got, you sort of start making those New Zealand teams at that year 13, year 12 level. So it actually starts in high school, and having the right people in those schools or around whatever student to, help them get there is just incredibly important. So those are my two dreams, especially being in that second one, working in a school and seeing the need for it.
Heck yeah, man. That's going to be a huge one. I can't wait to see that one come true, because that's just going to bring, the quality of life for children at school, because not everyone's, top-end academic, but having these high-performance opportunities for them is just going to help push them to want to achieve better at school and things like that. Did you have one more, or you're leaving it at two?
No, I've got two. Yeah, two's all I had. Sorry,
two's
mate.
all he's got. Oh, easy, man, easy. Well, some people are like, "Nah, I got another one. Can I have one more?" I'm like, "Bro, you got three. Three is plenty." Well, I guess here's another one of our regular questions that we ask as well, is if you had, let's go with 17-year-old Cam. If you had the opportunity to sit on the opposite side of the table to 17-year-old Cam, is it, what are some of the things you'd say to him?
What would I say to 17-year-old Cam? I'd probably tell him to work harder in uni and try and knuckle down in those papers you really struggled with a bit more. Would have told him to get into the gym earlier and get into where the passion came from. So, yeah, 17-year-old Cam was, skin and bone, had no understanding of his body, and was breaking down every week. So, yeah, so it probably really inhibited my sport in a way, because I was running myself into the ground. I was playing club hockey, rep hockey, school hockey, and I was playing men's football. So that's 4 games a week. It's training probably 3 times a week as well, and then doing probably minimal recovery and not a single thing to strengthen my body. So yeah, definitely telling him to get into the gym more. And the third thing would be look after your body. You've only got one. So
that's such a true statement there too, Fano, because it doesn't get easier the older you get. It just starts breaking down more and more and more. I mean, look at your grandparents.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to take care of their body, man.
Yeah.
And so, on the flip side of that, looking at yourself, so if you return to this podcast in 5 or 10 years, what's a message you'd like to say to your future self as you watch this back?
My future self, I'm hoping that I put in 5 years of groundwork, and I just kept growing and building my base knowledge and developing as an S&C. So I'd hope that would happen. I'd hope, I'd be hoping I'd be married by then, hopefully, as well, and settled down and not sort of, zooming all over the country or over to Europe by then. So I'd be hoping that, to be settled somewhere and, have that future job that I'd want.
I hope so too. I hope when you're looking back at this, Cam, you did it. You did it, bro. You did it. I know you did it.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see.
Shit, yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, we've reached that time in the show, brother. Will we wrap things up? Is there anything you'd like to say before you go? Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, or just tell the people where you are, what you're doing? I'll leave all your socials down below, so if people want to reach out, they can. But otherwise, the floor is yours, my guy.
Thanks for having me, Ra. I don't have too much to say, but no, it was cool to be on and again talking about experiencing some new things in 2023. So it was pretty cool to come on and be out of my comfort zone a wee bit and have a chat to you and a bit of a catch up, which was cool. It's always nice to see an old friendly face. Used to see in a lecture hall every day. So yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for that.
No, all good, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on, my bro. It's been so much fun to catch up and to chop it up, and even more so to hear about what you've been up to for the past year since we've all departed from university. It's amazing to see, and I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing some of these Otago shit. It's on the come up down there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll talk them up.
Hey, do you want to give any of them a shout out? They might give it a listen.
Yeah, shout out to all you boys in the academy. Best of luck. Best of luck for your season ahead. I know you'll all smash it. Enjoy.
Easy. There you go, Fano. Like I said, I'll drop all of Cam's information down below if you want to find out where he is and link up and pick his brain. Feel free. But until next time, Fano, take care. Modi order.